Hi everyone. It's been a little while since we've recorded a video, so I want to get this up as an option for you to practice at home. And this is a practice that gets into the sides of our body. A lot of times throughout the day we're moving in really linear, straightforward ways, and even our furniture is really designed that way. Our work desks are designed that way, our cars are. So this is starting to open up the different ways that the body can move and enjoys to move. And it also just happens to be, it's a regular practice, but I happen to be 7 months pregnant, so it is a very friendly practice for a prenatal practice. We're doing a lot of side bending, which is nice if you have something that makes it a little more challenging to forward bend a whole lot. So feel free to take this on as a regular practice, and for those of you that are ready for a kind of active flow in a prenatal situation, this is also friendly for you. I have 2 blocks. I'm going to use a cork block. I like the stability of it. And I'm also going to use a foam block at one point, but I will give you options to modify. So you don't need those blocks, but I'll lay them out for us. Let's just start in child's pose. Right? So we can just take a few moments to settle in. Big toes together, knees nice and wide apart, and then just bring your head down and stretch your arms out. And sometimes we want to just like move into the practice, right? We're ready to go. Maybe we don't have a lot of time, but I can't overemphasize how important this part of your practice is. To really just take these next few breaths, close your eyes, kind of let the day fall away from you, and let yourself notice the sensations that you feel in your body. So as you bring your head down and as you let the hips feel heavy and the head feel heavy, let yourself start to take deeper and deeper breaths in. And it's almost like the breath itself is this embodiment of our awareness. So as you're drawing the breath in, you're drawing your awareness into subtler parts of your body, deeper layers of the muscle and the tissue. We're going to walk our hands from this child's pose over to the left. Doesn't have to be far, but walk the hands over to the left. And so we create a side bend in the body here, bringing the head down. And I want you to not just reach over to the left, but to take your right hip and anchor it back away from the stretch. So as you reach, there's like a counterweight to this stretch. And then send your breath really distinctly into your right side rib. So you can feel the breath kind of puff out there on the right side of the rib cage. We want to stay a little bit so you can let the breath tenderize the side body. And then come back to center and walk your hands over to the other side. And so just like when we reached over to the left, right, you want to draw the opposite hip back. So in this case, we're going to draw the left hip bone back a little bit, send the breath into the left side body. And I think of these breaths in the side stretches. I think of the breath moving into the body in this way that reminds me of like kneading bread dough, right? And if you've made bread and you've been kneading bread dough, you know it makes the bread dough stretchier, right? But it also makes it more resilient. So we're waking up the tissues in the side body and making those tissues stretchier, but also more resilient with each breath. And then come on back to center. And maybe close your eyes for this, but we're just going to come up to hands and knees and start to let the breath guide us into some movement. So maybe most common is to come into cat-cows, inhaling as we lift the chest, Exhaling as we round the back, right? And you might flow with this up and down. But then also, like, feel free to let this be, like, curvier, right? You can rock the hips side to side. You can roll the hips and roll the shoulders. We're just trying to kind of wake up the awareness in all these different parts of the body. And at the same time, we're doing this really important work of coating the joints, right? So you might even extend a leg out and an arm out. You might take the leg into circles, right? Sometimes I like to reach out beyond the edges of the mat. Really anything that feels good. Let yourself move in whatever way. You don't have to do what I was suggesting or showing, but you can let yourself really feel your way through this. And so our joints produce this fluid when we move them from the joint capsule itself, and it just helps to, that synovial fluid, it helps to reduce the friction when we then come to bear weight on the joints. So the more you can get this feeling that you're kind of like coating all the joints in the body, it's not just a feeling, you are, right? And the more you're going to support the movement of your practice. And then you might even start to bring this up towards a down dog and continue to move around and then play around a little bit. You can walk it out, and I like to glide forward and back a few times and warm up the shoulders. And then from our down dog, just to start to wake up some of the muscles of the back body here, we're going to inhale to a high plank and then exhale back down dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale back down dog. And keep going. So as you inhale forward to high plank, I want you to feel this moment in high plank where it feels like you could squeeze and hold a pencil under each armpit, right? So you're inhaling to high plank and exhaling back to down dog. But in that moment of high plank, there's this moment of squeezing that invisible pencil under each armpit. And what that does is it allows you to feel the lats and the back muscles turn on. So we're not just using like the arms and the front of the body, but we're starting to engage the back body too. So our plank becomes this full-bodied pose. And so then the next time you're in high plank, feel that squeeze, that hug of that invisible pencil under the armpit. Pause here. And now we're going to use the feet to take us in circles. 5 circles. Try to maintain plank as you make these circles. And really it's just the feet that are directing you into these circles. And then press back, down dog. We'll take a big breath in. And exhale it out. Come forward to high plank. And then whether you went clockwise or counterclockwise, go in the other direction now. 5 circles. Right, warming up into the muscles of the chest and the arms. And getting the hands more sensitive to bearing weight and distributing the weight. Back to down dog. Take a big breath in. Open your mouth, clear it out. Feet together. And from the feet together, lift your heels way, way up. Bring the heels over towards the right so the toes spin towards the left. And then push the ground away. So we might be tempted to go into the shoulders here. I want you to push the ground away and feel the length in the upper body still. And then just a few times, bend and straighten. Both knees together. And you're just kind of feeling this fullness out into the side body. It's almost like another version of a side body stretch. So you feel this opening and this width on the left side of your rib cage particularly. And then come back to center. And now heels over to the left, toes towards the right, push the ground away, and a few times, right, just playing. Just waking different parts of the body up and feeling this out. And then come on back to center. Take the feet nice and wide. We'll come to high plank. You can lower halfway or all the way down. And then inhale to lift your chest, either cobra or upward dog here. And we'll press back, downward facing dog. Big breath in, exhale it out. Take a big breath in and exhale it out. Big inhale. As we exhale, bend the knees, walk or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale to a long spine, and then exhale, forward fold, bow down. So just let your head hang. I'm gonna do the obligatory tie your hair back pose for a moment. But otherwise, let your head hang in that forward fold. So you let the spine just decompress a bit. And you want to take really good care of our backbones through our practice. And so a lot of our poses will cater to that health, to the length, to the supporting of the spine. Maybe even shake your head out a little bit. And then release the hands down. We're going to come into sun salutation aids. And we're going to take about 3 today. You could always take a few more if you wanted to increase the length of the practice. So inhale, come all the way up. Maybe reach back. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, press back, down dog. Big breath in. Exhale it out. Big breath in. Exhale it out. Take a big breath in. Exhale, bend your knees, walk or jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, we'll fold. Inhale, come up. Open up. And then exhale, flow down. We're riding the breath. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to down dog. Inhale to high plank. Don't rush this part. Lower, slowly finish your exhale completely. Inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, press back. And now big breath in. And exhale out. And you want to take really full advantage of these breaths here. We're not just kind of waiting and sinking in, and it is rest, right? But it's this active rest where you're stirring some things up in the flow, and in this down dog, you're clearing out all that you've stirred up. On your next exhale, bend your knees, walk or jump. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, we'll fold. Inhale, come up. Open. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, press back. We'll take a big breath in. Empty it out. Big breath in. Empty. Lift the hips a little higher. One last breath. Bend the knees. Walk or jump forward. Inhale, flat back. And exhale to fold. Now, if your feet aren't already hip width distance, get them there now. Keep your knees soft as we come all the way up to standing. And I'm just going to turn so I can show this to you a little bit more easily. We're going to take the arms up, right? Feet are hip width distance. And I want you to reach up through the left wrist first, grabbing hold of the left wrist, and then start to lean over to the right. And it doesn't have to be far, but what I want you to feel, just like in that side body stretch that we took in child's pose, I want you to feel that you're counterbalancing this by rooting down through the left foot. So as you reach up over to the right and you hug your left shoulder blade onto your back, you're rooting down through the left foot. And just stay here a few breaths.
Also be careful when we come up to standing, it's really tempting for us to kind of send the butt out behind us. I want you to make sure you're still in Tadasana here, even with the side bend. So the tailbone drops down and the belly is really actively hugging up, like you're lifting your pubic bone up. Now come back to center, reach up. And we'll take the other side. So take your right wrist, reach up, and then lean over to the left. Right? And I'm not worried about how far you lean over. What I want you to find is more length than anything, right? So we're trying to like open up these lines of fascia, the lines of tissue that all go along the side body that wrap around not only your muscle, but the nerves and the blood vessels too. So you might even feel like this little tingliness. It's not a bad thing. Bring the right foot and press the right foot into the ground. Like imagine your foot was on sand, not on solid ground. You can really root it down a little bit more. And take one more big breath in. And then from here, I want you to keep all of this length. It's like you've earned all of this length on both sides of the body. Keep all of this length as you reach up and bend the knees from here. So this is our Utkatasana for today. It's not a back bend, right? And we're not leaning forward for it. We're keeping a long spine, a well-supported spine all the way around, and long sides to the body. And you might stay here. You might lift your heels, okay? And you might even start to pulse a little bit. Okay? It's a little bit more challenging when your balance is changing daily, as in mine is. But you might even pulse a little bit. And if you pulse here, what you're doing is not just bobbing up and down, but you're pulsing to really kind of like turn the muscles on. Right? You can think of this like CPR, that pulse of CPR, your heartbeat. You're kind of putting this heartbeat into your muscles. You're flushing them up. And there's even this feeling that you're kind of pulsing into the center of the belly. So you're building all this strength right into the core. I think of it like a supernova when all that energy gets really concentrated, that I'm drawing all the energy right into the center, right into the center. And I can feel that heat build, and you gotta breathe into it, because if you're not breathing here, it's not sustainable, right? So you gotta breathe deep into this as you continue to reach up, lengthening the sides, feeling the hugging into the middle. Take a big inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a long spine, and you can either step or jump back to low plank. Inhale to lift your chest, and exhale, press back, down dog. We're gonna take the right foot forward for warrior one. So front knees bent as we come up. And what I'd like you to find here is that same ability to find the nice long spine, right? So the same thing that we tend to do in standing posture, sending the butt out behind us, we do it here in our warrior, right? I want you to see if you can balance your hips. Drop your tailbone down and find that length all the way from the bottom of your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head. And then wrap the muscles on all sides around the spine to support that. So you might need to move your feet, right? You might need to lift the back heel. I like to lift both heels sometimes, especially in the first one, so I can turn on the muscles of the legs more fully, right? But you don't have to be stuck wherever your feet landed. You can move them as much as you need to. Find a nice long spine and then breathe some life into it. So we're not just here like holding a pose all rigid. There's a life to it. There's a thrivingness to it. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, we're going to open up to warrior two. And as much as you're reaching out, we can't just reach out because that's not stable. You're reaching out, but you're hugging into. So you're hugging the thigh bones into the hip sockets. You're dropping the tailbone down so you can hug the belly up and in. Even the arm bones hug into the shoulder sockets so you can reach out and get long, but it's sustainable, it's connected. Flip the front palm. We're gonna reverse our warrior. Front knee stays bent, right? And instead of collapsing on the left side body, let's stay long and supported with the muscles of the core. And just to kind of set that, float your back arm up, hook the thumbs, pull the arms away from one another, and then use this leverage to lift your rib cage up away from your hips. Big full breaths for 3, right? So we're not collapsing here. 2, take a big breath in, and then exhale. We're gonna windmill our hands to the mat and flow through. High plank to low, upward dog, and downward dog. Take a big breath in, exhale it out. Left foot forward, warrior 1. Right, so you have some time and space to play and find what's going to give you the most access to a long, strong backbone. Right? Rarely are we just all one thing or another. Right? So I can't think of many opportunities in the practice where we're just strength or we're just release. There's always this balance, this interplay of what we call sthira and sukha. We find the places where we need to hug up so that we can support the spaciousness, the vulnerability, right? So it doesn't take us out. And then open up, warrior 2. And a few breaths here. Feel the hugging in that allows you to reach out. Okay? And maybe get even more expansive when you can kind of sustain that energy to be here. Flip the front palm, reverse your warrior, reach back. We'll float the back arm up, hook the thumbs, pull the arms away from one another, lift the rib cage up away from the hips. A few more breaths so we don't rush on, we let this set in. We're resetting the body. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, hands down to the mat and flow through. And then big full breaths in your down dog. And so we're gonna flow through one breath, one movement. You've set these postures in your body, in your muscle memory. So now I want you to really feel that like you were surfing, like you can ride the waves of your breath. Right? And there's a wisdom to it, right? We didn't just randomly say, you're gonna inhale here, you're gonna exhale there. We inhale on the moments we're lifting and opening, and we exhale on the moments we ground and root. So I want you to feel that. You don't have to go at the same pace as me. You might go faster, you might go slower. I want you to follow your breath. On your next exhale, bend your knees, walk or jump forward. Inhale, flat back. When you exhale, fold. When you inhale, Utkatasana, feel that supernova-ness in the belly. When you exhale, bow down. When you inhale, lengthen. And when you exhale, low plank, whether you step or jump. When you inhale, lift your chest. When you exhale, press back. You'll step the right foot forward and you'll inhale up to warrior 1. You'll exhale out to warrior 2. Inhale to reverse and exhale to the mat. All the way down through low plank. Inhale up, exhale back. Step the left foot forward. It's your inhale that lifts you up. Exhale opens you. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, down and through. And then big full breaths in your down dog. Not collapsing, but finding more space, more length. Taking the hips higher, drawing the inner thighs back, keeping the chest nice and open. We'll do this one more time. On your next exhale, bend your knees, walk or jump. Inhale, long spine. Exhale to fold. On your inhale, Utkatasana. On your exhale, bow down. On your inhale, long spine. On your exhale, low plank. On your inhale, lift. On your exhale, press back. Right foot forward when you're ready, inhaling up. Exhale to open. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, down and through. Inhale up. Exhale back. Left foot forward. Inhale, rise. Exhale, open. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, down and through. Inhale, lift. Exhale, press back. And pause here. Again, big full breaths. So there's this constant evolution, right? It might just be like tiny little shifts. It's not the same down dog you were in at the beginning of your practice. Things have changed. Sometimes there are parts that are tired and we want to sort of sink into those. But if you feel, there are also parts that are really invigorated and alive. And so you can emphasize the tired parts, that's one road, or you can emphasize those parts of you that are invigorated and alive, and you can push the ground away, you can feel that vitality, the fullness of your breath. We'll step the feet together, take the right leg high, bend your knee, and roll your hip open. And so you can stay here and feel this spaciousness across your hips, or flip your dog, right? And then lift the hips up. And if you're in flip dog, it's not just a pose. I want you to open your mouth, roar the breath out, lift the back of your heart up, and really feel like this is the antidote to how you've been holding yourself through the day, right? Rounding in, curling forward. Now feel the whole front body open, and then come on back to down dog. And pause. So we're gonna bring the knees down. You can do this without a block, or take your foam block is gonna work best here. Take your block in between the ankles. Okay. And we are going to take this into a high plank. So from high plank, it's not like down dog, right? It's our high plank. We're squeezing that invisible pencil. I want you to feel the strength on both sides of the body. And really slowly, start to go to the outer edge of your right foot. Don't rush this, but bring yourself into side plank. So you gotta stabilize the block with the core. Both feet are flexed. One breath here, more. I know we've been here a few breaths. Come back to high plank, ideally without falling. And if you lose the block along the way, no big deal. We're gonna take this to the other side, right? So outer edge of the left foot, right arm high, reach up, lengthen out through the heels, out through the crown of the head. Nice and slow, come on back to that high plank, and we'll bring the knees down. So we'll see that again on the other side, but you're done with that block for now. And then bring yourself back. If you want, you can vinyasa through high to low plank, up dog and down dog. Otherwise, just press back to down dog. And take a big breath in. Exhale it out. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, draw your knee to your nose, round your back, hug the belly up and in. So this is core prep. Inhale, leg high. Exhale, draw the knee and round the back, hug the belly up. Inhale, leg high. One more time, knee in, round the back, hug the belly. And this is what it's prepped for. Inhale the leg up. Do that same action, but lightly step the right foot between your hands. And we'll come on up to Crescent Lunge. So Crescent Lunge has the back heel up, all 10 toes point forward. And still you want to find this hugging in of the thigh bones. I like to bend the back knee so that the hips can be balanced. If you can imagine that your pelvis is a flower pot and you're going to grow your spine up out of it, we don't want the flower pot to be tilted. The spine will bend, right? We want the flower pot nice and stable and upright. Lengthen up through both sides of the body. And now from here, I'll just turn for the visual. From here, keep the hips balanced. Take the left wrist, reach up, and lean over to the right. Right? And just like we did in all those other side bends, keep anchoring down the left hip. Don't let it fall behind you. Don't let it lift up. Keep anchoring the hip down. Keep it in line with the right hip. Just send the breath into the side body. Keep hugging the left shoulder blade on your back and let this marinate. So every time we come into the side bend, we're letting this get into like deeper and deeper layers of tissue because we've been here before. And it doesn't mean it's the same. It means we get a little bit more out of it. And what I want you to do is to take all this length that you've created and you're going to keep it as you come into a twist. So I'm a big fan of an upright twist, right? This is really nice for toning all the muscles of the core, feeling the belly hug up and in, and for rinsing out the spine. It's also helpful if you have, again, a little something in front of you that makes it hard to fold. If you want, you can come into a prayer twist, right? But either way, I want you to think of keeping the hips balanced and lengthening the spine and opening the chest. So it's not a hip twist where you kind of collapse and the belly can hang out, right? But the legs are super active. You're in a spinal twist and you're able to open. If you have something like a side crow, you could take it, or you could open your arms, whatever feels good. And just find that nice elongated twist for a few more breaths. This is so good for feeding the discs of your backbone. The only way they get a flush of circulation is by having these pressure changes around them. And we create that when we elongate the spine and then twist it, right? We actually feed and heal our own discs. Take one more breath and then open up warrior two. Flip the front palm, reverse the warrior. And windmill, hands down and through, right, all the way through. I've ended up facing the other way on my mat, but you don't have to be. Take a big inhale, exhale it out. One more big breath in, exhale it out. So let's take the feet together. Take the left leg high, bend your knee, roll your hip open. And you can stay here or flip your dog, right? In the flip dog, if you're actually in either expression, everything that's touching the ground is pressing into the ground. So everything not touching the ground lifts up more. I want you to feel not just the hips, but the back of the heart lift up, open. Breathe. And then come on back, down dog. Get stable for a moment, and then bring the knees down. And our friend, the block between the ankles. I've been doing this a lot in a class this week and last week. I think they're kind of over it, but I still like it. So I'm facing the other direction, so it might be a little tricky from what you're seeing, but we're gonna come into high plank. And so this time, the left arm goes high. We come to the outer edge of the right foot. Reach up. And breathe and stabilize. Make sure your butt isn't out behind you. You are in Tadasana, standing posture. Come on back and find high plank, and then take the other side. Right, nice and slow. You gotta stabilize from the core, right? It's not like stabilizing the lower body and just the upper body. Has to be a full body movement. And then come on back, high plank and pause. And then bring the knees down and release the block. And then from here, we'll come back to down dog. Take a big breath in and exhale it out. So I should have said earlier, if you don't have the blocks, you can just do the side planks, right? You don't need the blocks. And you can modify your side plank with a knee down, no problem. Take the left leg high on an inhale. Exhale, knee to your nose. Try not to use any momentum here. Use the belly. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, left foot between your hands. Crescent lunge. So we come on up and find the balance in the hips. Maybe a bend in the back knee. Take your right wrist, reach up and lean over to the left. Anchoring down through the right hip bone. One more breath here. And then find your twist. Right? Prayer twist or elongated twist. Sometimes arms wide into cactus can be nice. At least 5 breaths. We spend so long in weird postures, strange and unnatural postures. We can't rush through all these poses. Sometimes we've got to give it enough time, right, to let it reset in all the ways that we've set strange postures in. One more breath, and then warrior 2. Flip the front palm, reverse your warrior, and windmill, hands to the mat. Down and through, high plank, low plank, upward dog, and downward dog. Big breath in. Exhale it out. Take a big inhale. Exhale it out. So walk or jump to the front of your mat. Inhale to a long spine and exhale to fold. And so we're going to come all the way up, sweep the arms up. And we're going to take balancing with eagle first. I'm going to use a block to help support my balance, which is a little wobblier than it sometimes is. Right arm under the left arm, right? And right leg up and over. So I'm going to tap my right toes onto the block, which allows me to work more of the length in the spine and strength and support through the core, and worry less about the wobbling. It's always an option. But I want you to find that same long spine here that we've been working with all the way throughout. Right? So in part, like we stirred the body up, we moved in all these different ways, and now we're kind of honing things back in. And it's not just the wrapping of the body into the midline, but like you set your focus, you bring your attention in, you let the breath get deep. But it's not just a contraction, right? Because we're not all or nothing in these poses. So you bring it in and then you get length, you get space, you might draw the elbows up, you separate the hips away from the rib cage and get more distance between those two. And then inhale to sweep up. And we'll take the other side. So left arm under the leg up and over. One more breath. And then release and sweep up. And from here, left arm stays high, right hand comes down. Catch the right foot for a dancer's pose. And you might just stand tall at first. Right? If we can't stand tall, it'd be really hard to balance in any other variation. So I like to find this standing posture first, and then start to take the upper body and the lifted leg off center in balance. Kicking back and reaching forward. And there's still this lifting in your heart, right? There's a lifting in the leg and there's a lifting in the heart. We're not collapsing, we're not dropping down. Keep a hugging up at the front of the belly so you're not dropping into the vulnerability of the lumbar spine. You're staying supported. Take one more breath and then come on up. And we'll windmill the arms. To drop the left hand down, catch your left foot. Standing tall. And then moving into the balance. And then come on up and release. And now we'll take tree pose. Right? So I still like to sweep up, inhale, get this length, and then hands to your heart. And you could just lift the right heel, or you can bring the right foot in anywhere on the left leg. Careful not to kick the left hip out to the left, hug it up and in. Feel that both sides of the waist are still nice and long. And this is a living tree. It's not a dead tree. It's not an ornamental tree. It's a living tree, right? So the whole time, you're not just frozen. The whole time, you're growing a deeper, stronger root system down through that standing foot, just like a living tree. And the whole time, you're growing up taller out of that root system. And you can feel that dynamic action down into the ground and then up through the crown of the head. Maybe even lift the arms, take a variation if you'd like. And then release and sweep up. Big inhale. Exhale, let's take the other side. So left heel could come up or you bring the left foot up, however high you want. Notice if you do that tendency that we do so often in standing posture of sending the butt out behind us. Right? Always think of that tilt, even a small tilt of the pelvis you want to be aware of, because it compromises our back. It shortens the front of the hips, it compromises the back. So you want to keep dropping the tailbone down, keep lifting the pubic bone up. That allows you to deeply engage these low belly muscles. We need those. We need those on to help carry our spine well. And release. Let's sweep up. Let's take a big inhale. Exhale, bow down. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, down dog. You can stay or vinyasa through that high plank, low plank, up dog, and down dog. Once you're back in down dog, we'll take the right leg high. Exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale, right leg high. Right knee to left elbow. Right leg high. Right knee outside right elbow. Right leg high, right foot between your hands, and we'll pause here. Still there's an engagement in the legs, so we're not letting the hips go askew. Keep drawing the right hip back, left hip forward. I'm going to recommend a block under the left hand. And you want to get the hips balanced because we're going to take this into a twist. Right? So take the right arm high, and from here, keep hugging the right thigh bone in towards the midline of the mat, unless you have something in the way. But keep hugging it in towards the midline as opposed to dropping out. Dropping the leg out makes it a hip twist. I want this to be a spinal twist, right? So the hips stay in alignment, and you open up, push down into the left hand, open your chest. Take a big inhale. And as we exhale, we're gonna reach the right arm in between the arm and the leg, straightening the right leg, and try to touch your left knee or lower. You probably won't touch it, maybe you will, but it doesn't matter. That's just what we're reaching for. And then think of taking this right hip bone and tacking it back a little bit so the right side of the body stays long. So this is our vinyasa a couple times. Inhale, bend the front knee open. Exhale, reach through. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach through. And don't get crazy about it. Let it be fluid, right? This doesn't have to be like an extreme pose on either end. Right? Rarely is the practice effective when we make it extreme. Just find your flow with it. Right? Inhaling to open and exhaling to reach. Now pause here, reaching. We're gonna take the right arm, reach it forward so we can lengthen the spine, step the back foot up quite a bit, and we're gonna open here. I'm gonna take my block a little bit higher. We're gonna open into a twisting triangle. Right, so feel this spiraling of the chest open. Draw the right hip bone back, take an inhale. Now both legs stay straight. We reach back for the left leg. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to reach. So we're using all this kind of side body stretchiness that we've earned. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach. And now pause here. We're gonna turn the back foot out and take this into a Konasana, a triangle pose. So I might want my feet a little bit wider. You can adjust as you need to. I'm gonna take my block now to the outside of my front shin. And I'm gonna peel the left arm up and open. And then from here, take the top arm and reach it towards the front of the mat. It doesn't have to be super far, but feel the length in the left side body. Keep rolling your hips open, which I think is best helped by the idea of rolling the inner thighs away from one another. As you reach up and over towards the front of the mat, you really want to anchor down through that back foot. Remember, we always have that counterweight in our side stretch. And then think, right, we tend to lean forward here. Think of drawing the shoulder blades back in space a little bit. Like you could lay them, like if there was a wall behind you, you could just lay your shoulder blades onto that wall. Peeling yourself open, take a big breath here. And then exhale. We're gonna forward fold. I'm gonna turn just so I'm not sticking my butt in the camera. So just forward fold, wide leg, and let your head drop down. And you could just hang, you can grab your big toes if you wanna walk your hands through. Some of you might have a headstand, you can take that. Whatever you want. I just want you to feel out what's gonna serve you the most. For me right now, it feels like just letting my head hang is gonna let my spine decompress in the way I want it to. Feel the length up the backs of your legs. The legs don't have to be straight, but it's helpful to give a little feeling of like tilting the sitting bones up. Nothing forceful, nothing extreme. And then walk the hands to the front of the mat and step both feet back, either to down dog or high plank and vinyasa through if you'd like. We'll meet in down dog either way. And then from the down dog, inhale left leg high, exhale knee to your nose. Inhale left leg high, exhale left knee right elbow. Inhale left leg high, exhale left knee outside left elbow. Inhale left leg high. Left foot between your hands, unless you forgot your block back here. Block under the right hand if you want it, and then peel open into your twist. Left arm high. A few breaths here. Keep hugging the left thigh bone in towards the middle of the mat. You're using the ground beneath your feet, right? So we're not just kind of like sliding the feet away from one another, but you're actually pushing your feet into the ground like you're trying to close your legs, like you're trying to like close a pair of scissors, right? You want to feel that hugging in. Inhale, and then exhale, straighten the front leg, reach through, try to touch your back leg. Lengthen the left hip bone back, and then inhale into the vinyasa, open, bending the front knee. Exhale, reach through, straighten the front leg. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach through. 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 Pause here, both legs are straight. Reach the left arm forward. Step the back foot up. Okay. Maybe you change the height of the block. We're going to open into a twisting triangle. Inhale. Exhale, reach through. Both legs are straight this time. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach through. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach through. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach through. And now from here into our Konasana, so arrange the feet a little differently as much as you need to. Bring the block, if you have it, to the outside of the left leg. And opening up. So feel that there's this constant kind of rolling open, like an increased spaciousness, breath by breath. Top arm overhead as you anchor down the back foot. Just feel the length. Just feel into it. It's like you've turned every cell in your body on. And that's why it's also so important to keep the breath with you all the way through the practice, because you're feeding every one of those cells with each breath. You don't want to shut down that supply. You don't want to close in around it. More breath, more length. And then we'll release into our forward fold. So you could take the same variation you took last time. Or you could take a different variation. On this side, I often like to interlace my hands behind me to open my chest. Just a few breaths to find a surrender. And then releasing your hands down. We're gonna walk all the way to the front of the mat. Again, you could step back to high plank in Vinyasa through, or just go right back to a down dog. Inhale. Exhale it out. Right leg high as we breathe in. Exhale, right knee forward into our half pigeon. Right, so this is one option. And I would strongly suggest that you don't try to bring the front shin parallel to the front edge of the mat. You're going to be you're going to be lifelong friends with your knee. A lot more likely if you have the heel tucked in towards the pubic bone. But whatever you end up in, right, if whatever variation, just try to lower yourself down into this, maybe a block under your head so you can relax your neck and not have to hold your head up. If you don't want half pigeon, or it's just like not a nice place to be, you can lay onto your back and take this figure four. So it might just be the right ankle across the left thigh. You might hug the left leg in. Try to keep the right ankle flexed so that, again, you're being conscious and protective of the knee. We don't want to encourage a lot of lateral motion into the knee, and we don't want to pull on the tissues that are responsible for stabilizing the outside of the knee. So if we can keep the muscular activation around the ankle and the knee, that co-contraction around the joint helps to create stability. The background on that. Just a few big breaths. Let yourself melt, whatever you're in. And I was thinking about this the other day when I was teaching a yin class and had a candle going, that you really want to melt in this shape, like the way a candle melts. So it doesn't just go down.
but it goes down and it kind of spreads out. So you want to get that quality of kind of like puddling out, like taking up more space, letting yourself just kind of unfurl. We spend so much time and energy keeping ourselves kind of like tense and ready and efficient and going and up. We need these opportunities to kind of unravel in a good way, right? Where we're kind of in a protected space to do that. A few more breaths. And we're just gonna pick the chest up, and we're gonna bring the back leg up and around. So you have two options. You can take the left leg up and over the right leg, so the knees stack, and this is Gomukhasana, right? Or if this just doesn't feel good, the left knee can be high. If this still doesn't feel good or isn't really possible, just Sukhasana, cross-legged is fine. Just let's make sure the left shin is in front on this go around. So either way, left knee's on top or left shin is in front. And then we want to take the left hand out to the left. Bend the left elbow in towards your left hip so that you can get space between your ear and your shoulder, and take the right arm up and over. So what we want to avoid is this. We're going to bend the left elbow in towards the left hip. Just like all of our side stretches, you know by now. You know what I'm going to say. You want to keep rooting down the right hip bone. Or in this sense, actually the right sitting bone. So that you're anchoring this side stretch. And hug the right shoulder blade onto your back. And just sit with this. Let's see if we can make the breath a little bit more geared towards the exhale. So I want you to see if you can start to inhale for a count of 5 and exhale for a count of 8. And that type of breath helps signal to our nervous system that we can kind of downshift. And then keep everything just as it is. We're just going to take the right arm and we're going to reach it out to the right. Palm faces down. And I want you to feel like you're pushing the air down under your right palm. And you can make that air as dense as you want. Like you create the resistance you want under the right palm as you drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. So now what we're opening up into is like the neck and the shoulder here. Right, so you decide how much, how solid the air is underneath your right palm. And you decide how heavy you want to let your head get, how much you surrender it over to gravity. And now leave your head hanging. This is important. Leave your head hanging. You can relax the right arm down. Push into your left hand to just lift the body up. That's it. Just the body up. And I want you to use this muscle. I want you to take your left hand and push your head up. There it is. And now we're going to bring ourselves back to down dog. So you might just lift the hips, come forward and step back to down dog, or I don't know, scramble yourself there, however it needs to happen. And then inhale, left leg high. Exhale, knee forward if you're coming into half pigeon, or you can relax onto your back for figure 4. Lower yourself down. And this is no time to shut down the breath. In fact, we really want to feed all of these parts of the body that are releasing, that are unfurling. So breathe deeply as you let yourself feel into your own heaviness. And I do want you to feel into that. Like we want to feel light, we want to feel up. Right? We are not always comfortable feeling into our heavier parts, our darker parts. But I want you to feel into that because we need that balance. And find a way to be in this wholeheartedly. Right? So you're not just wishing you were somewhere else or something else were happening, but really feel this, really be in this. I was just on a meditation retreat, a silent meditation retreat for 5 days. And you schedule your life so that you can make that happen, and then you get there, and I was noticing, I was still sitting there and just like daydreaming. And then I think, well, this is a really good daydream. I'll get present later. I'll get present in the next time we sit down for meditation. And I just thought how silly that is. The biggest mistake we make is that we think we have all this time. And it doesn't mean that every moment has to be intense or crazy. Sometimes you need a moment of daydreaming, but you let yourself do that 100%. And then when it's time to not daydream, you don't do that. Right? We do that with planning. Like when it's time to plan, you plan all your attention in so that you don't have to be planning while you're in a yoga pose. You don't have to be planning while you're with your loved ones in a meal. You don't have to be planning while you're on a walk in the forest. We want to start to practice being in these moments wholeheartedly, even the simple ones, and maybe even especially the simple moments. So like this can just be a pose that feels good in the body, and that's fine, but it can be a whole lot more if you want it to be. It can be this opportunity to practice how you land in the present moment, and then how you practice it in this pose might carry off into how you move through the rest of your day, your week, or even the rest of your life. However much you want to bring it in. Let's lift the chest up and then bring the right leg up and over. So either Gomukhasana or cross-legged with the right shin in front, and then right hand out to the right. Bend the elbow in towards the right hip as you take the left arm up and over. And so we're not like half here and half, in our email inbox. We're like whole here. Close your eyes if you need to. Like feel this. And we're not just gonna feel what's comfortable. We're up for all of it. Feel everything. Feel the spaces start to open up in the body. Feel the left sitting bone anchor down. Feel the movement of your breath. Hug that left shoulder blade onto your back, right? So we're not rounding, we're not collapsing. And then take the left arm out to the left, palm faces down. Push the palm into the air, push the air away with the palm, and let your head drop. As much as is comfortable, let the head drop. You can make that air under your palm with as much resistance as you want. Feel into it, breathe. And now everything stays the same. Just push into your hand to bring the body up, and bring the right hand to the head, push the head up. From here, we're gonna unwrap the legs and we're gonna lay back. So feet flat, knees bent, and take a moment, just let the spine like elongate on the mat. You don't have to do anything right now. And we're gonna take this into a bridge pose. So get your feet in a place where you can rely on them, and then push into the feet and start to lift the hips up. But that's not all. We're gonna not just lift the hips up, but we're gonna lift the back of the heart up. So everything touching the ground is pushing down into the ground. That's the feet, it's the head, it's the back of the shoulders, the back of the arms. You might walk the arms in a little closer, shoulder blades underneath you. Feel the back of the heart lift, the back of the hips lift, the back of the thighs lift. Big full breaths here. Open up. And lower yourself down. And take a big inhale and exhale it out. And so you can take bridge pose again or wheel if that's in your practice. It doesn't matter, but I want you to put your whole heart in. We're not like lukewarm about this. Whole heart in. And this really is, again, these opening postures are the antidote to how we curl in and round throughout the day. So come up, and I suggest you like give it lion's breath, especially if you're at home. Let it get loud, open your mouth, like make this the biggest final rinse. Like you've stirred yourself up like a washer machine does the agitation cycle, and this is the rinse cycle. Clear it all out, right? So push down, lift up, try to give it like 5 big breaths, right? And just go for it. Like there's an open channel from your heart out through your mouth, and you're gonna clear that space. It's not skin deep, it's not muscle deep, it's inside out. Heart rising. And when you're ready, you just come on down, and you'll know. You'll know when the work is done. And then let your knees drop in, knees touch. We want to open up the back of the pelvis now. Knees touch, feet out wider apart. One hand to your low belly, one hand to your chest. And just close your eyes and feel your breath rise up into each palm. You can feel your aliveness. And then soles of the feet together, knees out to each side, arms up overhead. Hug your knees in. And just a little rock side to side. And if you want, you can take this into a twist to one side, and then a twist to the other. Or you can just continue to rock. It's like we've turned all these faucets on. Our circulation, our energy is going in all these different directions that we've opened up. And it's not that we want to close it off, but we just want to like turn the faucet down a little bit before we rest. And then you might take a full body stretch to just lengthen. And then we'll take Shavasana. So Shavasana is not a moment
ideally where you're gonna fall asleep or like check out. Shavasana, it's like we've spent all this time clearing the muck off of our lens, and now things can get really super clear. And so you actually just want to relax back. The body's still, but like the awareness is fully present. You can see clearly now. So just rest in that. Don't tune out, don't check out. Just be here, relaxed, but noticing every sound that might arise, any sensation that might arise. Even noticing a thought that comes up without having to get carried away with following or getting tangled up in any of it. Just notice each moment as it arises and then let it fall away. Stay for longer if you'd like. Otherwise, start to deepen your breath. And maybe roll the wrists and the ankles to bring a little conscious movement back into the body. Eventually, with your eyes closed, rolling yourself onto your side. And then with your eyes closed, coming up to seated. And we'll bring our hands together in front of our heart. To close our practice, let's take a big breath in. Open your mouth, clear it out. Thumbs to your forehead. And as a thank you to yourself and to each other, as we bow, we say namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much.